Speedway. Start time 6 p.m. If the ticket prices are out of your budget, you can catch the match live on Fox Sports, Peacock, or Telemundo. Get ready for a lot of soccer chatter over the next several weeks. The World Cup will last 39 days. 48 nations will compete in 16 cities across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Serena Williams was unable to compete in the doubles quarterfinals Thursday in the HSBC Championships in London. Serena's doubles partner Victoria Mboko was forced to withdraw because of a knee injury. Serena and Mboko won their first round match on Tuesday. Serena says she still intends to play in Germany next week at the Berlin Open. No word yet on whether the Compton native is doing the singles or doubles. Serena is considering a comeback after retiring in 2022. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr. $2.5 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom said it was there for fire survivors in Altadena and the Palisades. No strings attached. That was the promise. But the burning question is, where's it at? 18 months later, an NBC4 investigation came back with the numbers. The numbers don't answer the question, they deepen it. Where's it at? About $605 million has been spent, roughly 75% still not released. Where's it at? Roughly $14 million went to CHP overtime and ICE immigration protest response for crowd control. Not rebuilding homes, not rebuilding lives, but crowd control. Where's it at? Another $13 million went to the state health department for video campaigns while fire survivors waited. While families in Altadena are still trying to put their lives back together, still trying to get housed, this is the hope gap and it's real. Where's it at? Southern California Edison is still in court, still fighting liability tied to the Eaton fire, still not accountable. Where's it at? 18 months later, Governor Newsom, where's it at? Because the truth is free, but the lie can be very expensive. And right now, fire survivors want to know what happened to no strings attached. And I've been saying on this mic for the past 18 months, somebody or somebodies didn't do their job. Now it's documented. Governor Newsom, listen closely. You didn't do your job. You didn't keep your promise. You held up the bill. Now stop holding up the money. You said no strings attached. Instead, you played on the people's heartstrings. Where's it at? See, Governor Newsom, even at the French Laundry, if it don't come out in the wash, it's sure enough gonna come out in the rinse, and the rinse cycle is here. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Of instrument too. That's the best thing you can do.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, indeed. We are going to spend some time talking about cannabis. Happy Friday to you. A lot going on in this space, more than you may think or know. It's a constant conversation in the background, but I think many of us are really not informed on the day to day and the progress, if you will, or the challenges in this space. We have a friend coming in, actually in the studio with us. She's a nationally recognized entrepreneur. She first started out with the Gorilla Life Water, which we used to love so very much, and now she is the founder of Gorilla RX Wellness and the Life Development University, longtime community activist, a mom, and a friend of this radio station. Kika Keith, good morning.
Good morning. So glad to be
Great to have you back in.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we'll have a little different kind of conversation this morning. And we're also being joined by the from the LA County Office of Cannabis Management, Laura Magallanes. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Some people may not even know that department exists. What is your mission?
Yeah, so the Office of Cannabis Management has been tasked by our Board of Supervisors to create a regulatory framework for commercial cannabis for our unincorporated areas. I think it's a good opportunity to highlight the difference between the unincorporated areas and our incorporated cities. As you're aware, our county is massive, right? We have nearly 10 million residents. Within the county, there's 88 incorporated cities. That includes a big one, LA City, right? We have Pomona, Long Beach, Pasadena as examples. And then we have our unincorporated areas. That includes about 130 approximately unincorporated communities, Lenox, Willowbrook, but we're so vast, right? We're go from there to Marina Del Rey, to East LA, to Altadena, all the way to parts of Antelope Valley, right? Acton, as an example. And the reason why that's actually relevant to this discussion is because it has a lot to do with commercial legalization. Now, some people think because it was legalized by the state through Prop 64 about 10 years ago, that commercial cannabis businesses could locate anywhere. And that's really not the case, right? What it did allow is local jurisdictions, cities and counties, to come up with their own regulatory mechanism, right? And so some cities allow it, other cities don't, right? And of the 88, I think about 29 allow or have some regulatory program. The remaining 59 still prohibit it. And as of today, the county, unincorporated areas still prohibit commercial cannabis. So part of our role, again, is to create that structure, a transparent, fair regulatory process for that moving forward.
Yeah, it is confusing because it's legal to the state, it's illegal to the feds, it's prohibited here, and then there's licenses, and the average consumer and or business person has no clue. Why is it, Compton doesn't have it, but City of LA does, and so thank you for breaking that down. And then we hear about changes happening at the federal level, and it's like, oh, this is all, it's all moving, but not so fast, huh? not as fast as it seems like, right?
Not so fast and not equitably.
Yeah. Which is what you've been talking about since before Prop 63 when I was on a different radio station on the front page.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's the one thing. We know the harms in our community, specifically in Black and brown communities, that it has done generational harm in our communities. And that was the one thing that prompted me to want to enter into this industry, is listening to then Lieutenant Governor Newsom talk about this isn't just about, selling weed. It is about social justice and economic justice, specifically for communities that were disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs.
And which is us.
Which is us.
And by us right now, I'm specifically talking about Black people.
Yes.
And also, we know you more for Gorilla RX, but you have a thing called Life Development University. Most of us have seen it. Explain what that is. What's your mission? What are you doing over there?
Yeah, well, our mission has been always, while we were working to get into this industry, is to effectuate policy and to hold government accountable to the letter of the law, and this in particular for this emergent industry. And that the source of that was education. Going out to the neighborhood councils, going out to the coffee shops and the community centers, saying, listen, this is coming, whether we like it or not, and let's be a part of this industry. And if nothing else, if we don't participate in it from the business side or the employment side, let's make sure that tax dollars are coming into our communities that have been harmed. And so that's what Life Development University has been, a source of education and making sure that our community is aware.
Educating the community. I stopped by there one day. You weren't there, but I stopped by there one day at one of the events. It was really quite wonderful. A lot of folks there. There's also some job components to that too, right?
Yeah, there is. And I want to do a quick shout out to Senator Bradford in our work of trudging up and down to the state capitol, advocating with him and helping to get bills passed in favor of equity. We were able to get a state budget allocation to acquire the building that you came into. So it is a home, not just for the work that we do, but for the community. And so we host various community programming and most importantly, workforce development.
Wow. On Fridays, we always talk reparations. Our second hour, we call it Friedman Friday. We talk reparations. So we always have Senator Bradford in quite often. And it's amazing some of the different kinds of impacts that he's had on things like this. Not that cannabis is reparations, but it's certainly been tied in some municipalities, places like Evanston, which is the first, of course, city to pay cash reparations to help folks get housing. That came from cannabis tax dollars. We don't have that kind of set aside of the cannabis dollars in LA. I don't think so. Right?
No.
It goes into the general fund, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. It does go into the general fund, unfortunately. So when you made the comment earlier about things moving fast or not fast enough, there are a lot of things that we need to slow down on, and that's what I appreciate about Laura and her team and Office of Cannabis Management and their commitment not to go too fast and to get this right, and to make sure that we're educating before there's participation, making sure that the community is informed. And so I'm excited about the different approach that the county or unincorporated county has taken on this.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. It's kind of like AI, right? In that here's this thing, you let the genie out of the bottle, and then there's all these unintended consequences and sort of things we didn't see coming, and the popularity of cannabis and just the whole industry of it seems to get ahead of the laws, the rules, the protections for consumers and for businesses. So I don't know if you want to speak on that.
No, I think that's one of the benefits, I think, for us getting a little late in the game, right? But I think that it allows us to see what has happened over the decade, right? And have the lessons learned, incorporate
Has
best
it been
practices.
a decade already?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy when you think about, but it still feels relatively new, right? In terms of a policy perspective. And so, what I've appreciated during my time here is also the willingness of some of these jurisdictions throughout the state to share some of their, lessons and their experiences, right? I think, behind the scenes, I think we're all supporting one another to say someone's got to do this right. You know what I mean? And so I do appreciate the opportunity, because I think what I've learned is that it's not just about licensing, right? It's more about the opportunity to create access to meaningful opportunities. Communities of color have been shut out of the legal industry, and it's really because of these social equity programs that these are offering potential, lifelines, right, into economic opportunities, economic mobility. And so, it's really given us an opportunity to be very thoughtful about how we're designing the program.
Yeah, that's interesting. You say late in the game because the county office of cannabis management comes much later than other there's a city department.
Exactly.
There's various cities have their own bodies, whatever they might be, but this one is fairly recent, right?
Yes, and we're still in the development phase right now. It's building out that framework, and we've behind the scenes been developing the ordinances, right? We're working with the different departments that are involved in the permitting and licensing approval processes, right? It's not just about the license, when you really take a step back, it's really building an infrastructure that can support the folks that are going through this process. And really our priority is this social equity program to make sure that we incorporate all of the supports that we know and we've heard about that we know are essential to get folks not only into the space but to be sustained over time. I think that's the conversation that it's evolved. Before, when it first started, it was about starting the market, right? And now it feels like it's transitioned to sustaining it. And how do we really support our businesses?
So that's cool, because in a way it's an advantage that you're coming in later, because there's a little bit of a runaway train vibe to some of the things that are happening. And the hope is, at least for me, that equity doesn't get thrown under the train or under the bus in this process. We'll talk more about that. You've got a workshop coming up tomorrow.
Yes.
And I've got some questions about where we are and how people can stay on the right side of this conversation. That's what we do around here at KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it!
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, the Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Yeah, man.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg. But the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure though, 'cause now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Brothers and sisters,
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
You want balanced? Go somewhere else. You want honest? You're already here. 5 years ago, KBLA Talk 1580 made a choice to be the progressive alternative Los Angeles deserved and never apologized for it. We haven't. Not once. 5 years, same mission, zero apologies. KBLA Talk 1580, live on 1580 AM and streaming everywhere.
Happy anniversary! Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. Kika Keith is here, Life Development University. You probably know her. She's probably more famous to you. I'm just guessing, no judgment here, for Gorilla RX Wellness. Also with us, Laura Magallanes of the LA County Office of Cannabis Management. And we are talking the state of cannabis now. Of course, I'm always, as Kika is, always looking through an equity lens because we know the history behind the war on drugs and just the sort of racialized and racist way that cannabis has been imaged and criminalized in this country. Now we're seeing sort of a shift. I know the federal government has moved to change the schedule. Schedule is what they call the category of drug, that whether it's considered a hard or harmful drug or whether it's considered one with some mitigating circumstances, i.e. it has medical use. And I think attitudes are changing. But the complaints about the equity piece are pretty steady. As far as, we've talked about this for years, that despite the concept and the conversation of then Lieutenant Governor Newsom, that the implementation of really opening the doors for Black and other social equity entrepreneurs has been problematic.
That's right. I'd probably say a failure.
Okay. You'll go a step further, a failure.
Yeah,
so what can we, shall we do about that?
Yeah, we've been trying to figure it out. I'll put on the hat from a social equity operator and being the first Black woman in LA to open up a social equity store. So I'm going on year 5, and I've watched my colleagues close their doors. Probably 80% of the Black and brown folks that I know that we've organized with have closed their doors or will be closing their doors.
Okay, before you break that down, explain what a social equity operator is.
Yeah, sure. So it's identified differently and depending on where, but in the city of LA, you had to be low income, have a cannabis arrest or conviction, come from communities that were disproportionately impacted. So they looked at the arrest rates and looked at, in the city of LA, 9% of the population is African American, but 40%, we represented 40% of the arrests. So they looked at where those areas were in the city of LA, and that became the qualifier. And that's a big deal. We had to be low income. But yet this is one of the most expensive industries to enter into.
You have to be low income and you have to have a building.
Yeah.
Or a space where you're going to sell that ain't your apartment or backyard.
That's right.
So that right there seems seemingly contradictory.
Absolutely, which always had us thinking that the program was designed to fail when, we were speaking about this back in 2018. They did not set us up for success.
And then, of course, we don't have to go all into this, but we've had a lot of complaints that people were gaming the system, whether it's sneaking in ahead in the line or using people who were in low income and had those qualifications but really didn't have ownership.
Yeah, again, going back to the implementation, right? There were no guardrails. There was no education. There was not business license compliance support. There weren't pro bono legal programs at that time to help us negotiate with the predatory investors. And so those of us that were pioneering this and coming out before they knew what could work and what wouldn't work, we were detrimentally harmed.
And so a lot of folks have gone out of business. You're still standing. What do you attribute that to?
Resilience, the fact that, I put a lot on the table. Not only did I put a lot on the table, but I brought a lot of people out of the shadows and saying, this is a way to legitimize yourself. Here, come with me to these city meetings. Come with me to the state. Let's make sure that we're able to participate in this. And those are the same people now that have lost their homes. They can't file bankruptcy. They've lost their credit. They've lost family.
They can't file bankruptcy because it's not recognized federally.
That's correct.
Same reason you can't bank.
That's correct. Still, even with this rescheduling, that does not affect that.
Because it's only for medical.
It's only for medical.
It's only for medical, so that doesn't open up the banking system yet.
That's right. And so, we were looking at this people from our community as an opportunity to right these wrongs and to set up generational wealth, and it's become generational harm.
Is it too late?
No, it's not too late. We just watched the city of LA and their council put forth a ballot measure to tax unlicensed.
Girl,
what?
I was trying to get.
Now wait a minute. They did that in a matter of.
And it passed.
Yeah, it passed, and they did it very quickly, right? And so at that same action that they took, in order to do that, they could have put forth an action to give social equity retailers tax relief. They could have done it to, make changes for the industry, period, to lower the taxes. There were a lot of things that could have happened that the city council can do to bring relief, and it has not happened. And so that's the push, that we still should be doing, that community members still should be doing, to say, wait a minute. There used to be a tax reinvestment act that was on the table back in 2018 for dollars to go into our communities. People have gone quiet. And so, proactively, I've used that energy as much as I've gone up and down the state into all of these meetings and filed complaints and write reports to no avail. I've been able to take that energy over to what the county is doing and say, listen, can you guys get this better than what they did?
So it's really not to no avail, because if other people are learning from what we've done in the city of LA as sort of a test case,
absolutely,
then that's a good thing.
Absolutely, and there's a new opportunity.
Hopefully, it's a good thing.
Hopefully, it is, right? We're in the Leimert Park, Baldwin Hills area, unincorporated. LA is View Park and Windsor Hills.
Right.
So those same people that were fighting and trying to get in, that couldn't get in with the city of LA, there's still this greater opportunity with all these lessons learned from an operator perspective that we're willing to share, from LDU's perspective of hosting programs to share, and then even to be able to find a government entity. And I've gone all over the country saying, do this way, get it right, read this. I've just been so impressed with Laura and her team and their willingness to sit there. We've been at this for quite a long time to get this right, and their willingness, and then the supervisor's willingness to support that. It is a testament.
Supervisor Holly Mitchell, of course.
Right.
That's our supervisor in the building we're sitting in. We've got news, traffic, and sports right here. When we come forward, we'll talk about what these new opportunities look like, what these new policies could look like, what we're doing tomorrow with this workshop, what this whole plan is for community education and outreach, and how we're going to do it just a little bit different. All that straight ahead. Of course, you're welcome in at 800-920-1580. Dominique DePrima for Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Federal investigators have raided a California aerospace facility following a near disaster. Garden Grove residents are intrigued.
Now it's more like, what do they have down there that they had to be raided? So now we want to know some answers of what's really going on.
The FBI and other agencies searched GKN Aerospace after a faulty chemical tank nearly exploded, forcing the evacuation of about 50,000 people over Memorial Day weekend. Sean Diddy Combs is facing another lawsuit alleging sexual misconduct. A former child actor claims Combs assaulted him at a Hollywood Hills event in 2007 when he was under 18. Combs' spokesperson denied the allegations, calling them false. And LeBron James is reaffirming his place in the GOAT debate. In a new interview, he says he considers himself the greatest of all time, adding that stars like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant would likely say the same. Get BIN News now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the city at the all-new Hard Rock Casino Tejon, just an easy drive from downtown LA. Play your favorites across over 2,000 slot machines, plus baccarat, blackjack, roulette, and craps. Enjoy live entertainment and exceptional dining. Must be 21 or older. Concerned about your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The first World Cup soccer match in the U.S. is tonight at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. The U.S. takes on Paraguay. Start time 6 p.m. If the ticket prices are out of your budget, you can catch the match live on Fox Sports, Peacock, or Telemundo. Get ready for a lot of soccer chatter over the next several weeks. The World Cup will last 39 days. 48 nations will compete in 16 cities across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Serena Williams was unable to compete in the doubles quarterfinals Thursday in the HSBC Championships in London. Serena's doubles partner, Victoria Mboko, was forced to withdraw because of a knee injury. Serena and Mboko won their first-round match on Tuesday. Serena says she still intends to play in Germany next week at the Berlin Open. No word yet on whether the Compton native is doing the singles or doubles. Serena is considering a comeback after retiring in 2022. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. Let's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. We continue our look at what is happening and what is not happening along the Destination Crenshaw corridor. Last time we talked about the promises made to this community. Today we talk about the reality on the ground, and it is not pretty. Let's start with something as basic as a visit to the vet. Customers of the local veterinary clinic right next door to this studio are forced to park blocks away and carry their sick and injured animals through conditions that no pet owner or sick animal should have to endure. Why? Because the construction has blocked access to the vet's parking lot for years now. The vet is losing clients, the vet is losing revenue, and frankly, who can blame these customers for not coming back? This is but one example of a small black-owned business being quietly strangled, and nobody at City Hall seems to notice or care. And the conditions along this corridor, they are not just an eyesore, they are a health hazard. Unsanitary conditions and repeated health code violations are doing exactly what you would expect, inviting vermin into our neighborhood. Rodents, pests, the kind of infestation that does not stay in one place. It spreads into homes, into restaurants, into our daily lives for years now. Then there is this. The houseless are finding refuge in the construction cubbyholes and unfinished spaces left wide open along this project. These are precious human beings, to be sure, in desperate situations. But this is also a safety and liability crisis that the city created and has yet to address for years now. In our prior editorial, trying to save some space for Grace, we did not call his name. But after a full week of running the editorial hourly, highlighting the myriad delays, business losses, health violations, safety concerns, and more, we have heard absolutely nothing from City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson. Nothing. Not a word. The council member who represents this district has gone silent. You see why we call this project procrastination, Crenshaw? And so I repeat, Crenshaw deserves better. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Yeah, we do more than just talk, but we do a lot of talking, and hopefully that talking is combined with some advocacy. In this case, certainly so. We're looking at the state of cannabis. Kika Keith is here, the Life Development University and the Gorilla RX Wellness, longtime advocate for social equity in the cannabis space. And we're also joined by Laura Magallanes, who's over the LA County Office of Cannabis Management. A huge project. I commend you for taking it on. Seems like you would have a lot of moving parts. We were just talking about some of the challenges and some of the, frankly, failures that we've seen with startups and the quest for equity. And one of the things that you guys are rolling out now is this community education outreach plan. So hopefully that's a key component in getting better outcomes, is making sure people know what's going on. I'm assuming that's the philosophy behind this effort.
Absolutely correct. And I really have to give Kika the credit for that, because since I first met her a few years ago, she has really emphasized the need for education. The best case scenario is for an individual to make an informed decision before deciding whether to pursue a pathway. I think everybody seems to think that ownership is kind of the only opportunity in this industry. And it's really not. When we really think about the ecosystem of the entire industry, there's plenty of opportunities to participate meaningfully, right? You have a whole workforce that we haven't really discussed, I think, as an industry. But I think that it's an opportunity for us to make sure we're using this time wisely as we're kind of going through this process of developing and implementing a framework for our unincorporated areas, that we take our time to make sure that we are educating folks. Bringing that education to individuals would be the most responsible thing that we can do.
And so when you talk about, okay, it's not just owning a shop, there's so many other aspects. Can you give me some examples of the kinds of things we're looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely leave it for Kika to have more kind of the expertise on that. But we also talk about, plant touching, jobs, right? You have management positions, bud tenders, but even non-plant touching, right? Ancillary services, right? Security, consulting services, right? There's a lot of different kind of employment opportunities that support the industry as a whole, but don't necessarily have that plant touching kind of emphasis for the actual job. And so, there's a whole opportunity really to make sure that we're doing this appropriately on the regulated front, right? The risk is, if we have unregulated, like unlicensed businesses, we don't have that ecosystem that really is being monitored and having the compliance checks. All that stuff is why it's really important to have a regulated market. And so, there's plenty of opportunities to really support that industry.
I mean, it makes sense. One of the things and I know that's not what you came here to talk about, but one of the things that was baffling to me about the legislation that just passed is that it almost seemed like it was giving a wink to people who are not licensed and unregulated. Okay, we're just going to pretend you have a license. It doesn't make sense to me. I wonder how, like, how do we support the people that are going through the process, doing it right, doing the education, and, whatever aspect of the business, whether they're in a security or whether, it reminds me of entertainment. Entertainment industry is not just movie making. It's the florists, the costume designers, the people that sell sandwiches. Like, there's a whole ecosystem, and we're all feeling it right now as it contracts. So in the cannabis space, like, how does the consumer or the business person or the elected support what we want, as opposed to sort of the random, anything goes kind of side of the industry?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think it starts from the leadership, right? And I think it trickles down. It's really important. We find now, as we said earlier, we're close to a decade in, that the city council has kind of just looked at this as a money grab. Right? They're not looking at the jobs that are created, the communities that are impacted by those jobs that are created in the community benefits that the business licensees would love to do in the community. We're not supported.
I do see jobs. I see people working.
That's right. But how long can we afford to pay those people if we're burdened by the compliance and the tax costs, right? And with
and competing with people that aren't.
And that's the biggest thing.
And competing with people. And as a consumer, you don't even know.
And you don't know.
You don't even know. Yeah.
And that was the responsibility at the state and the city level. So when I talk about leadership, I'm talking about both. Enforcement was the whole purpose behind legalization, right? That's why folks came out of the shadows to be a part of this. And so then if you're not enforcing it, then they say, I think close to 70% of what's the revenue generated comes from the illicit market, right, in this industry. And so if that isn't dealt with, how do we survive? Because the compliance costs are so expensive. Rent is so expensive when you're a cannabis business. And so then for the city to then pass and say, we're going to tax the unlicensed operators at the same amount we're taxing the licensed operators. I talked to one of the officials at the DCR, and the question was, why wasn't this for 50% taxes, right? Why is this the same? And so it does create an environment that is not fair. It's not just.
Yeah. And so I guess what we're talking about here on the county level is making sure people know what's going on, making sure they are stepping in with their eyes open so that we can create a sustainable, fair, because as a consumer, a lot of people are just going to go, oh, let me find the cheapest deal.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
Just like people do. Some of us are like, where's the organic?
Yes.
But a lot of people are going, where's the deal?
That's it.
And I even know people that are like, oh, well, I'm going back to my old weed man from back in the day because this is, it's too expensive, or it's too this, or it's too that.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what's happening. And so, that's why we appreciate being able to be on shows like yours, to be able to have the community understand the difference, why it is so important. This is a public health and safety issue.
So how do we know? If you're me, you don't want to take in even more pesticides or take more chances with unregulated things. There's been some great, actually the LA Times did some good articles about the pesticides, and you imagine if it's unregulated, it's probably way more risky. So how do we know what's licensed, what's not, what's equitable, what's not?
Geez, that's a great question in the city of LA, because the storefronts look the same. And so I think it is important to get to know, at least from the dispensary side, get to know your community dispensary. Be purposeful, especially about supporting social equity retailers. I do know on the city's website and in most jurisdictions, they have a listing of the legal operators, that it's easy to find it. But who's going to go through all of those things is the question.
Right.
And so again, I'll go back to the leadership. Where is the city and then where is the community in holding our leadership accountable to close down the unlicensed stores, to be able to support the businesses that are bringing in products safely in our communities? And so I think there's some things that community members can get activated on. And then again, be educated. I think there is room for us to understand what the difference is. And in this campaign that we're doing with the County of LA, we were being very purposeful to show representation from every license type, including testing, because we don't know. We don't understand what's going into the products that we're consuming. And so this is more about than just, participating in this industry. It's also for community members that just need to understand what it is and what the difference is. And so these workshops that we're doing throughout unincorporated LA gives that opportunity, and they're free for community members to come and learn.
So free workshops, and these are for just regular everyday people as well as people who want to be cannabis entrepreneurs of some kind or workers.
Yeah, we welcome all community. I think it's a great opportunity, whether you're interested in or not, right? I think it's a really good opportunity to just learn about it. I think there's still a lot of stigma. One thing that I have been surprised about is that there's still a lot of extremes when we talking about perspectives, right? From an entrepreneurship, there's opportunity, right? But then there's also people who really only focus on risk, right? And it's kind of, we're always in this kind of extreme world where we, have community members who rightfully may not want it because all of they've really been exposed to is the unlicensed market. So that's what they see. That's what they interpret as the work that we're doing. And, it's really important to just get that information. For us, the goal is to just get accurate information to our community members. And it's really, for me, when I talk to equity operators, they tell me if I knew then what I know now, I would have done things so differently. And it's a really big message that I've taken very seriously, because the stories, the experiences, the sacrifices, right, that I've heard folks that they've made to get into this industry, it really makes you appreciate the responsibility of creating a very thoughtful policy and very thoughtful program, right? Because we want to make sure we don't put people in worst financial situations,
like losing homes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you explained at the beginning that we've got, I think, 88 cities in LA County. About 29 of them or so allow cannabis dispensaries. The unincorporated areas do not. Is that going to change? Is it ever changing? Like, do you see that changing in the unincorporated areas? And is there movement towards more cities allowing it, or is it going the other direction?
Well, the hope is that our Board of Supervisors, they've been very supportive, particularly Supervisor Holly Mitchell for this district. She's been one of our biggest advocate, right? And our board has directed us to move forward in implementing a framework. So that's the hope, is that what we present to the board is ultimately adopted by the board, right? But ultimately that will be up to their decision, right? And, the best case scenario is that we present all of the information, the best framework that we could put together that's informed by community, including our entrepreneurs, our stakeholders, everybody who can make sure that we are doing it's reflective. The thing that I think about cannabis is it's at the intersect of so many areas, right?
Yeah.
Public health, community impact, social equity, you name it.
Jobs,
and
entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So it's one of the most challenging areas, I think, from a policy perspective. But I think, we are doing as best a job to make it as balanced as possible, trying to incorporate all sorts of perspectives to make sure not only are we protecting our communities to the best that we can, but we're offering, again, equitable access to the market for those that are interested.
Okay, so that framework goes to the board. The board will adopt it, or you'll go back and try again, and eventually we'll have a clear set of regulations for the county. And I am assuming that whether more cities or fewer adopt, that's going to be up to those cities. And what happens with the unincorporated areas, that is in the hands of the county? Is that in the hands of the supervisor? Who decides that?
So for the remaining 59 incorporated cities that still prohibit, that is really up to their local governing bodies, right? Our hope also is, as the county, we have an opportunity to bring our cities together, right? To make sure that we can create, as consistent of policies across the county as possible. So there's benefit, right, that if we all kind of work collaboratively and try to align some of the regulations as much as possible, it could be less complicated for businesses to make sure that they're in compliance. There's a lot of different rules, right? So sometimes what happens is you have a patchwork of different regulations and policies, and it can be confusing, not only for businesses, but also for potential consumers, right? And so the hope is, as there's potential interest and as it expands, that we start really trying to align across the county with some of the cities. And, we have great relationships with some of the incorporated cities, and the hope is maybe we can create gathering spaces to start talking about that and really prioritizing social equity at its core.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all good news. And it's, to me, I don't know why people are so freaked out that this is hard or tricky, because it's new, right? And it has been illegal and stigmatized for literally decades. So it's going to take a minute for us to figure out how to do it. When we come forward, I want to talk about the workshop. I want to talk about the first one, because this is the first of many, right?
This is actually our fourth.
The fourth
workshop,
of many.
Our second one in
that's
SD2.
Right. You had one on my birthday. I forgot. Right.
And we have 4 after that.
Okay, so lots of chances.
Yes.
To learn whether you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to get a job, you want to get a more specialized job, or you just want to know what the heck is going on. We will tell you how to tap in when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Did you know that $60 billion are lost every year to Medicare fraud?
If someone has been a victim of healthcare fraud, the more we talk about that this occurs, older adults will feel more comfortable about sharing their experience.
It's not about someone not being smart enough or not paying enough attention. Falling victim to fraud can happen to anyone.
If I've been scammed, if I've experienced it, and I'm angry about it, and I want to do something about it, then I have an opportunity to volunteer and share with other people, here's what happened to me, but it doesn't have to happen to you.
Medicare fraud hurts people, it hurts Medicare, and we need your help to make a difference.
It's powerful to be able to address an issue like Medicare fraud, and being a volunteer for SMP gives you that power to do it.
If you have passion and dedication and want to be of service, we'd love to have you join our team.
For more information or to volunteer, visit californiasmp.org.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Faye Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at WootenCenter.org. That's WootenCenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow. The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Indeed. We are talking about the state of cannabis here in LA County specifically, because there is a new initiative going on, Community Education and Outreach Plan 2026. Kika Keith is with us. She's with Gorilla RX Wellness on Crenshaw and the Life Development University, which is also on Crenshaw, right across the street from the station. From the LA County Office of Cannabis Management, Laura Magallanes joins us. And you said there's a Juneteenth thing going on?
Yeah, so along with our workshop that's happening tomorrow that Kika's hosting, Supervisor Holly Mitchell is also hosting a Juneteenth celebration at George Washington Carver Park tomorrow from 12 to 4. Our Office of Cannabis Management will also be there. We have some staff there. We'll be doing a quick presentation, so another opportunity to come by, come say hi, come meet our team, and look forward to it.
So talk to me about what we're doing tomorrow, Kika.
Yes, so tomorrow is our Cannabis Workforce Panel. And this is critical, even for folks that want to be in the business. I wish I worked in a dispensary and moved my way up in every aspect of it before I open my doors. The education is perfect, but living practical experience is everything, especially with how highly regulated and in compliance. And so I'm saying to everybody who's even thinking about being interested in this industry, start off working in the industry. And we don't even understand the vast amount of jobs that are in here, from the entry level to management, that don't require degrees, that don't care. I'm not looking if you have if you have any felonies or arrests. Can you learn and can you do this? And because the laws are so new, we're learning and building this. So you're at a very even point. So tomorrow, from 3 to 7, we'll have 2 panels. One will be workers, from inventory managers to cultivation, to folks in manufacturing. Again, let's remember, we talk about retail dispensaries, but there are other licenses: manufacturing, distribution, testing, and so we're exposing folks to all of the different various opportunities to work in this industry. And then on the other side of that is the ancillary side. There's folks who have made a living doing podcasts, writing books, creating jewelry, in the security field, accountants, folks that have used their marketing skills and have transitioned into this industry and utilizing them. And so we'll have 2 panels that will expose folks to all of the different opportunities. Also a moment to network and talk to these folks individually as well.
That's amazing, and I know you have some videos up for those who are far away, or even if you're just lazy and you don't want to leave your house.
Yes.
LACountyCannabisEd.org, LACountyCannabisEd.org. I guess some of these workshops will be up shortly on YouTube. The link will be there as well. But the workshops are taking place on Crenshaw?
Yes, 4241 Crenshaw, the Power Building. Please come. It's really important, again, to educate yourself before you participate. And then on the website, all of the information on the upcoming series. There are other master classes across LA County. You'll get all the information there. Videos of the folks that will be speaking, to social equity operators. And then we will be uploading our past workshops, so the information will be there.
And it's all free.
And it is all free.
Which is amazing. Like, find out what's going on before you hop in. Or if you're looking for a job, maybe start here.
That's right.
Thank you so much for coming in, Kika. It's great to see you again, Kika Keith. And really nice to meet you, Laura Magallanes. And I hope everybody takes advantage. LACountyCannabisEd.org. The best of Tavis Smiley is next. He'll have highlights from the week that was. I'll see you on social media, DePrima Radio or KBLA 1580. Have a lovely weekend. Until next time, one love.
Blessings. KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Federal investigators have raided a California aerospace facility following a near disaster. Garden Grove residents are intrigued.
Now it's more like, what do they have down there that they had to be raided? So now we want to know some answers of what's really going on.
The FBI and other agencies searched GKN Aerospace after a faulty chemical tank nearly exploded, forcing the evacuation of about 50,000 people over Memorial Day weekend. Sean Diddy Combs is facing another lawsuit alleging sexual misconduct. A former child actor claims Combs assaulted him at a Hollywood Hills event in 2007 when he was under 18. Combs' spokesperson denied the allegations, calling them false. And LeBron James is reaffirming his place in the GOAT debate. In a new interview, he says he considers himself the greatest of all time, adding that stars like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant would likely say the same. Get BIN News now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the city at the all-new Hard Rock Casino Tejon, just an easy drive from downtown LA. Play your favorites across over 2,000 slot machines, plus baccarat, blackjack, roulette, and craps. Enjoy live entertainment and exceptional dining. Must be 21 or older. Concerned about your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The first World Cup soccer match in the U.S. is tonight at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. The U.S. takes on Paraguay. Start time 6 p.m. If the ticket prices are out of your budget, you can catch the match live on Fox Sports, Peacock, or Telemundo. Get ready for a lot of soccer chatter over the next several weeks. The World Cup will last 39 days. 48 nations will compete in 16 cities across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.